slave servant, messenger, and seal of the prophets. Peace be upon the prophet, upon his descendants, upon his companions, and upon the righteous throughout the world. And peace be unto you. Assalamu alaikum. We're forever thankful to Allah, highly glorified as He, for once again allowing us to unite for this special day, this blessed day of Jumuah, the day of assembly, the day that we consciously respond to a life-giving call. In fact, that's what the Quran says. Respond to Muhammad when he calls you to that which will give you life. Now we know that's not talking about per se physical life, but there are a lot of people who are dead. They're dead to concerns. In fact, we can see that when you look at this government, when you look at the leadership of this government, you can see the death, right, to the human concern. In fact, I heard one of the leaders, economic leader, say, I don't know what the problem is. A man that they say is worth $700 million, but I don't know what the problem is. People can just go get loans. See, you're dead to these human concerns, that you're so distant that you really don't understand. See, because a guy who's worth $700 million and a person who's working from paycheck to paycheck, they live in different worlds. So they're dead to the concerns of the common people. So Allah says that for the believer, respond to the messenger when he calls you to that which will give you life. There's a lot of dead concern. There's a lot of interest that people just don't have. So we are thankful to Allah that we have the opportunity to respond to that life-giving call when you hear the there and it calls us to Allah, freedom, and prosperity. See, that's what we want. We want to be connected to Allah. And we talked in a few khutbahs about power and why it was so important. That Allah Himself is all-powerful. He said that all power belongs to Him. But in understanding that He is all-powerful, He has also given you and I power. So much that the verse we cited where Allah says that those who, if we establish them with power in the land, see, He wants you to have power. And when you assume that power, He said that they will make the salat and they'll pay the zakat. They'll enjoy what's right and they'll forbid what's wrong. Now, what's so powerful about that? The power in that is that when you get power, because Allah wants you to have power, you don't become disconnected from Him. See, because when you become disconnected with Him, you will become dead to the concerns of other people. That's why after the connection with Him, He said that then you are conscious in your giving of zakat. That means that you are sensitive to the concerns of human beings. You care for people. When I tell you about the dead concern, they're dead to the concerns of people, that you will shut a government down. I hear people on and on and on again, can't afford medicine. And you have to realize that people do live in America with the cost of high living. They do live paycheck to paycheck. So if a person tells you, I can't pay my bills, I'm depressed, I'm stressed out, that's poor leadership. They're dead to the concerns of the common people. So Allah said He wants you to have power, but when you get the power, you know how to use the power. Because power is influence. Power is the ability to influence. Power is the ability to make things happen. But Allah also talks about when He gives that power, He says that He can strip it away. The verse says, say, O Allah, Lord of power and rule, you give it power to whom you please, and you strip of power whom you please. Thou endurest with honor whom thou pleasest, and thou bringest low whom thou pleasest. In your hand is all good, verily, over all things you have power. See, Allah wants the human being to have power, but he said those who don't use the power right, he can strip them of the power because he is the one who gives the power. He said he's all powerful, all knowing. So we think about power. And power is not in just finance, economics, money. We talked before about you have to have spiritual power. We're looking at the way Allah created the human being, right? He created the human being and gave the human being sensitivity. Sensitivity that you feel for another human being. I told you before, I went down into the food pantry, and I witnessed people, not what I saw on the news, I witnessed people who had worked all their lives. Some of them never ever even been involved with unemployment. But because of the decision that's based upon a lie that the American people were sold. See, the American people were sold this idea that, listen, we're going to have this war, and not that we're going to pay for it, but another group. Not, in fact, another country. It shows you the arrogance. That's why Mexico said, we ain't paying for no war. And you're going to tell us what we going to do? So now to fulfill the lie, you cause injury to the American people. You're talking about 35 days. Some people can't see themselves out of this storm. They're in a storm right now. But I tell you, Allah is the one who pulls people through storms. He's done it over and over again. All throughout the world, Allah, with his power, has pulled people through storms. This is a storm right now. The economy in America is changing. See, if people ain't making the money, they ain't spending no money. See, if you in business, you're going to begin to see that people, if they're not making money, you see over 800,000 people. Another guy said, the guy who's the economist said, that I don't understand this. That's just a small percentage of the American people. That's what you see. See, this is when you're dead to the concerns of common people. That's why if you read the Quran, the leaders Allah chose were people who were down with the people, the common people. Allah didn't choose the elite. Allah didn't choose the super wealthy, because most of the super wealthy are disconnected from the people. Allah used the common man, the common woman who understands the pain of the common people. They can relate to the common people. So when there's a decision to be made, they think a little different. I'm just talking to you about power and how one person's decision can change and alter the course of so many people's lives. So he said that he's the one who has the power, and he gives that power to whom he please. But, he says also, and he has the power to strip the power from whom he please. Power. People become intoxicated by power. And if their power, their ability to influence is not connected with the power of Allah, it will become disastrous. I hope you understand what I'm saying here now. It will become disastrous. And people will have to recover from one decision. And I told you last time that this was going to disrupt the American economy. And it is. When people have to file for food stamps, do you know what that does to a person's psyche? They say, man, I'm willing and able to work, and I got to sign up for food stamps in the land of plenty. This is why you and I have to work hard to set ourselves up where we're not dependent on the government. Yes, sir. This is the fact. Because as believers in Allah, and Allah has the ultimate power, we do not believe that salvation comes for us through political salvation. Salvation comes where Allah said, oh, you believe, save yourself and your family from the fire. That it becomes your responsibility to map out a course for yourself as you live in America, in this land of nothing but an abundance of opportunity. We don't live in a world of lack. We live in a world of supreme abundance. And the only thing we may be lacking is faith in our ability to get our share, because that's what the law says in the Quran. He says, seek the means of the hereafter, but do not neglect your share of the dunya. Yeah. See, somebody else tell you that you will have no right to this. Allah said, yeah, you work towards the hereafter. Some people just want to be so spiritual. We talked last week about what righteousness is. And they had this idea that part of the righteousness is to neglect themselves of the material world. So much that they went to the prophet in all, peace be upon the prophet, of the man who had this high spiritual aspiration. He stays in the masjid, he prays, he fasts. They're just like spellbounded by his so-called spirituality. And the prophet asked one question, and who feeds him? They said, we do. Then Muhammad the prophet said, then you are better than him. Because he's dependent and you are responsible. And Allah wants you and I to be responsible. So we live in a world of abundance, and we have to look at the Quran where Allah said, and do seek the means of the hereafter, but do not neglect your share of the material world. Got to get yours. See, because that's part of you having the power that Allah said He gave you. You have to have economic power. You have to have social power. You have to have financial power. You need political power to manage your community. You need power. Because those without power are dependent upon those who have power. And if you are a servant of Allah, you must have power. How can you be a servant of Allah and you always dependent? Servants of Allah are dependent on Allah and their own ability, their own ingenuity, their own creativity. You remember before I talked to you, I said one wise man said that most people live out of their memory instead of their imagination. See, living out your memory, you're just living through recycling the same thoughts which produce the same lifestyle, and you're not doing anything different. You're not creating anything. And most people are locked and stuck into yesterday. Research has shown that the average human being has at least 40,000 thoughts a day, but it says most of those thoughts are the same thoughts they had yesterday and the day before. That's living out of your memory. You drive the same way, you walk the same way, you go to the same store, you do the same things over and over again. Not tapping into your real power, your ingenuity, your creativity, your power. See, Allah gave you power. He said He wants you to have power. But He says, when you get the power, stay connected to people. Care for one another. Love each other. Aid each other. That's how you create a better world. By having the feelings of being sensitive to human concerns. So He said that He has ultimate power, and He gives that power, and then He can strip it. There are people right now who don't even deserve the power that they have. That's a fact. don't even deserve, not even worthy of the power that they, to influence. I remember before Trump became the president, President Obama said that the man was uniquely unqualified for that job. Now, if you hear the word uniquely unqualified, that's some heavy stuff. Uniquely unqualified. Because you're not in touch with the people. You have all these kind of other tendencies, and you play all kind of games. You lie. Muhammad the prophet said about lie that it leads, he said, truth, speak truth, for truth leads to paradise. And lies lead to hell. And that's what you can create. You can create a hell of a condition, because that's what hell is. You think about when you die, you have hell right now. People living in hell. I'm listening to people, they're in pain because of one arrogant man who has assumed power in this country's decision. There's a hadith I remember reading. And it talks about the boat and the people on the boat. The people on the top of the boat had access to water, and the people at the bottom of the water didn't have access to the water, and the people at the bottom of the boat decided to say, what we're going to do, we're going to cut a hole in the boat and get some water. Not realizing that when you make that decision to cut that hole to get the water for yourself, now you're going to impact everybody. And everybody going down in the water. So you got to be sensitive to the concerns of other people, and you got to think this thing through. I'm telling you about power. When you get power, you have to think things through. That's why Allah says, and follow the millatu Ibrahim Hanifa, and follow the way of Ibrahim, the upright. What is the way? What is the millah of Ibrahim? Ibrahim was the man that represented the rational urge in the human being. That he questioned things, looked at things deeply, looked at the sun and the sun is setting. That can't be Allah. Oh, Allah, how do you do this? Oh, you don't believe? Yes, Allah, I do believe, but I only want to satisfy my curiosity. I want to think this thing. I need more of an assurance of how this works. The thinking man. So Allah says, and follow the millah of Ibrahim, the upright. I'm going to get back to that verse, but here's another verse in the Quran I want to just mention about, development, following, leadership. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, if you love Allah, then follow me. Allah will love you and forgive you your sins. And that's a very powerful verse. Now, most people talk about leadership. It's a big thing about leadership, the crisis in leadership, the deficiencies in leadership. But the key part in this verse said, if you love Allah, so if you really, really, really love Allah, Muhammad said, follow me. We talk about leadership, but we also have to place great emphasis on followership. That's why you read before you heard about the sheep. How the sheep can just be blindly followed. They blindly follow herds. Following. The night follows the day. Everything in creation has within it the capacity to follow. Man wants to be led. He has to follow someone in order to get better, because there's always someone who's more advanced than you. So following is in your nature. Good times, bad times, they don't last. I'm talking about the tough times, they don't last. They don't come to stay, they come to pass. Talking to you a little bit about followership. We know about leadership. We talk about leadership. But we talk also about followership. That's why Allah also says in the Quran, and follow not the footsteps of the devil. See? Followership. Who you following. That's a powerful capacity in the human being, the ability to follow. But the question is, who are you following? He said, if you love Allah, follow me. See, when you follow Muhammad, the Prophet, you're following an excellent human being. You're following a human being, a character. Yeah, I'm talking about leadership. I'm talking about how people blindly follow leadership. Man told me, he said, man, I want to tell you, I won't tell nobody else, but I regret that I voted for Donald Trump. So I won't tell these other people because they look at me differently, but I'm telling you. He felt he had to get that off his soul. He was duped into the idea that I had this great businessman who's going to change the course of America. But you turn a blind eye to the character. That's why the verse said, and follow the millah of Ibrahim, Hanifa, the upright. You follow money, you follow a name and wealth, but you miss the character of a man. That's why Muhammad, the prophet, peace be upon him, he said, I come not except but to perfect character. That's a big deal. That's what Dr. King left on America. Don't judge a man by the color of his skin, but by the content of his character. That's a big deal. When you get on character, you can shape a better world. When you judge people on character instead of status, power, and money, you'll see a human being. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for human beings. Muhammad the Prophet said, if you love Allah, wow, if you love Allah, I love Allah. You should love Allah. You love Allah. Then he said, as a result of you loving Allah, just simply follow me. And when you do that, here's the return. Allah is going to love you. And not only that, Allah is going to love you. You know what he's going to do also in the verse? He said, and then he's going to forgive you your sins. Don't you know I heard that guy say, they asked him, do you ask for forgiveness? I'm talking about Trump. He said, I don't ask for forgiveness. I don't want to follow a man like that. I don't want to follow a man who don't think he ever does anything wrong. You ever heard the man apologize and really say, that wasn't right for me? I'm telling you about leadership and followership. Allah is heavy on the ideal of forgiving his servant, forgiving the human being, because that's how the human being gets better. When Allah forgive you, it relieves the weight off you, the burden, the emotional, the psychological burden of the violation you made, so you can get better. That's why you ask for forgiveness. Remember the hadith we shared last week? I think I have it today. I want to share it with you. It's a very powerful hadith that shows that Allah says he's all forgiving, most merciful. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that if you did not commit sins and turn to Allah seeking his forgiveness, he would have replaced you with another people who, when they sin, would have asked for his forgiveness and he would have forgiven them. Did you get that? See, how can Allah be the all-forgiving if we ain't falling short? He said, when you fall short, I am all forgiving. I will forgive you so you can get better. If not, then you clogged up with the arrogance. You're clogged up with the ego. You're clogged up with I'm all right, and you're not all right. So Allah said, I'll forgive you. So Muhammad the Prophet, peace be upon him, he said that if you love Allah, follow me. And Allah will love you. And not only will he love you, he'll forgive you your sins. That's how you're going to become a better human being. Because all of us are going to fall short. But we follow the Milad Ibrahim, the upright, working to be upright, working to have character, decency, love, compassion, decency, integrity, working hard to keep your word. When your word is your bond, you mean what you say. You're not driven by lies and games. You're driven by truth because you understand truth liberates your soul. Lies will lock you up. So he says, if you love Allah, if you really, really love Allah, follow me. I'm talking to you about followership. Who you following? Allah gave us a common man, a caring man, a sensitive man who said, Anna bashiru mithlukum. I am a sensitive human being just like you. I'm a common man. I have my shortcomings. The only difference is the revelation has come to me. Allah said he ain't created no angels. That's why we talked last week about this ideal of righteousness. Don't let nobody think that for you to be righteous is a burden. Because he told us it is not righteousness that you turn your face east or west. But it is righteousness that you care for people. First of all, you have belief in him. And then that belief inspires you to go to work for improving the society. You become a real social worker working for the improvement of society. The world has made it a problem for us to say we're righteous. You run away from that. That's why he said, follow Ibrahim, the upright, Hanif. I don't want to follow nobody down with this. It's going to take me down. I want to follow somebody standing up. So when the winds of emotion come, they still standing. Yes, yes, yes. So if you love Allah, follow Muhammad the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and then Allah will in return. See, in return of you loving him, he gonna love you. But then he said he's gonna give you a little more. Not only he gonna love you, but look, he gonna forgive you. I don't know how many of you don't want that. Don't want Allah to forgive you. He said he ain't worth. Had it been angels, he'd have sent an angel to be a model for you. He sent a human being. He's not in the business of turning human beings into angels, but he's working to show human beings to give them the guidance to be upright in your human form. Not an angel. Not a perfect human being who doesn't have flaws, but a human being who understands I can pray for strength, I can pray for forgiveness, I can say, oh Lord, please relieve this burden off of me. Oh Lord, give me a pass. ربنا اتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. So followership. In this verse, we talked about love, and that's really what we need more. In fact, I heard the song before. It said, all we need is love. I remember that song a long time ago. All we need is love. Just showing you the importance of love and what love can do in the world. He said he will, if you love Allah, he will love you. There's a lot of hate going around the world. Misguided people. In fact, the Quran itself, it says it has been revealed for Hudan Lina. It is guidance for the social being. The being who understands that he has to interact with other creatures, other beings. It's not necessarily guidance for the Muslim. It makes it very, very clear it's guidance for the social being. The Muslim will understand he has to interact with all kinds of people. Christians, Jews, people who don't even believe. With human beings. And that's why it's our job to call those human beings to faith. Those who don't believe it's our responsibility to call them to life, call them to a life-giving message, to awaken people. I said from the beginning, people are dead to these human concerns. It's our responsibility as God-conscious people, as Allah-conscious people, to call people to life, to call them to a better way. That's why they should come to the masjid. I gave you the picture before. I said that people come to the masjid just like they go to the church. No, pardon, not this. I said they come to the masjid, not like they go to the church. They come to the masjid just like they go to the hospital. See, I don't remember, brother, people go to the hospital when they got some pain. Back pain, got some pain in my inside, my heart is aching, you know, I got some mental challenges. I need a little help. They go to the hospital because they're in pain, physical pain. Some of them are also in psychological pain. They go there for all kinds of issues. And they come to the masjid for the same reason. People are in emotional pain. People are in spiritual pain. People are into mental pain, anguish, lack of faith, doubt, depression. Just like they go to the hospital because they want to feel better. And you invite people to the masjid to hear the word of Allah so they can not only feel better, but they can live better. They can live among human beings better. They understand how to build these essential relationships to further life. They come to the masjid just like they go to the hospital to feel better. I need to improve my life. And you see all this misguidance, this misdirection. I remember one time hearing Dr. King said that our scientific knowledge has surpassed our spiritual knowledge. That we have guided missiles and misguided men. And all he was talking about was just guidance. You have so many misguided people in the world. They sending cars out of space. You know that? They send cars out of space. They figured out how to send a car out of space. You know, you seen that? Yeah. See, all kind of technological advances, all kind of scientific breakthroughs. But when you come back and look at the picture of the human family, you see so much misguidance. That's why Allah said that the Quran itself is hudaliness. It is guidance for the social being. The being who must interact with each other. To show that human being how to feel for another human being. That's why all throughout the Quran, Allah tells you to give and give and give for the indigent, for the freeing of the slave. He tells you to give, and it purifies your soul. It cleanses you of greed. It cleanses your spirit of stinginess, of miserliness, of the lack of having faith that if you give, you won't have enough. That's why some people don't give. Because they think that if I give, I won't have any more. But if you read this book and you have faith in this revelation, it says that when you give, Allah says He will multiply what you gave. See, I want that kind of investment. That He's going to give you more than what you gave. But you got to believe that. So guidance is what the world needs. And I began this clip by talking to you about leadership and followership. The followers have to be thoroughly educated on who they are following. So the question is, who you follow? Muhammad the Prophet said that if you love Allah, follow me. And if you study him, you'll see why he says, follow me. And then you see when Allah says, and follow the midlife of Ibrahim, if you study Ibrahim's life, you'll see that Allah is telling you, you got to think your way through this life. You don't go through this life feeling your way through. We don't accept this faith just because somebody made you feel good. You know? That's how some people, oh, the preacher he just made me feel good. But how did he make you think? See, because that's where Shaitan operates. Shaitan operates in your feeling. That's why Allah said also, and follow not the footsteps of the devil. I'm talking to you about followership. And the reason why I said follow not the footsteps of the devil, because he said on the end part, because he is a clear enemy to you. So you don't need no PhD to see Shaitan operating in the world. I'm talking about followership, and follow not the footsteps, because Shaitan he's going to lead you off the course. And when he leads you off the course, you're going down a path of self-destruction. And then because you go down that path of self-destruction, those influences coming from you will begin to influence other people's lives. It begins to multiply. So the prophet said, if you love Allah, follow me. You know, let me have your attention. It's about where is your attention being focused. That's what we live in. We live in what is called an attention economy, that people profit from getting your attention. You have the attention economy, then you have the attention industry, television, newspaper, print. All of that is the industry that works to get your attention. And once they get your attention, they can move you in all kinds of directions. That's why you got to get focused, because that's where your power is. Your power, we talked about power. Your power is in your focus. And if you get off focusing on Allah, Shaitan will begin to become a part of your circle. And I shared with you before, Imam Muhammad said that the mission of the devil is to take the human being out of the human body. You know what that means? To take the love out of the human body, to take the compassion out of the human body, to take the forgiveness out of the human body. See, when you take the human being out of the physical body, you got a shell of a man or a shell of a woman. And then when you have a shell of a man and a shell of a woman, then Shaitan begins to what? Put his influence. That's why Shaitan said, and he whispers. But then Allah says in the Quran that Shaitan says, I had no power. I only had the power to call, and you came. Therefore, don't blame me, blame yourself. See, even Shaitan lets you know, I don't really have no power, I just whisper. And I put those influences, but you have to be responsible for your life. In other words, you have the real power. We talked about power. You have the power. But ultimate power is with the law. And he says that he gives it to whom he wills, and he has the power to strip those who have it whenever he chooses. But remember, Allah will pull us through this storm as he has always done. Economic storm, medical storm, health storm, financial storm, political storm. Allah is the one that can pull us through these storms. But I will leave you with this. The guy who's in the boat, in the ship, on the body of water, there's a storm. And it has been said that smooth seas don't make great sailors. I hope you let that digest. Smooth seas, that's why Allah said, all throughout the Quran, he's going to give you tests and trials that's going to build you up. If you got an easy life, you ain't growing too much. Study the great, and you'll see they had to overcome some things. So even though we may have some tough times that have come to pass, they have a destiny, they have a starting point, and an ending point. It can become for you a teachable moment. And those who are living from paycheck to paycheck, lost their jobs, working for nothing, they should learn to say, I will never allow myself to be under anybody influence ever again. I got to do something for myself. I have to take responsibility for my economic life. Yeah. Because I read what people say they had to quit their job to go find another job just to live. Smooth seas don't make great sailors. You're going to go through some things and you're going to overcome some things. ربنا يأتينا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وإن كان عذاب النار. Peace be unto you. Assalamu alaikum.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
استووا صلاة الجمعة الله.